Hi, good morning, 109. So today we're going to discuss the solution of this story, The Curious Garden. But before we do, let's review what problem and solution is, right? Remember, they go hand in hand. So when I think of problem, I think about what goes wrong. What goes wrong in the story? Is there a problem? Is there a challenge? Is there an obstacle? Something that the character faces, right? And we already talked about problem. So now we're going to talk about solution. Well, how does the character solve this obstacle or this problem? All right. So before we get to the solution of the story, I wanted to share two things that happened to me. And one was a quick solution, and one was something that I really had to think a lot about, and I had a lot of feelings. All right. So the first one was on Friday, we have family night, and we picked out a movie, and I had the popcorn ready and I had the juices ready, and we were just getting so excited to watch this movie. So we sat down, I put in the movie, and then all of a sudden Christopher starts talking a lot. He starts laughing, and it's so loud that it distracts Isabella and I. So the solution was really quick. All Isabella and I did is we said, "Shh, Christopher," and then Christopher said, "Oh, I'm sorry." And that was it. The problem was solved because it was solved quickly because we said, "Shh, you gotta be quiet, right? It's too loud." And then he said, "Okay." And that was the end of the problem and solution. So sometimes problems are quick and so are the solutions. However, sometimes we have problems that take a long time and we have to make decisions, and sometimes we have different feelings, right? So for example, the first time, right, that I ran the New York City Marathon, this was my very first one. I felt really, really happy and I was so excited, and I was like, I can't believe I'm gonna do this, right? But you know what happened throughout the day? Because it took me a really long time. It was actually hours. At first, I felt really happy. Then I was feeling worried. Then I was feeling hungry. Then I was feeling tired. So I had all these emotions, right? And then I was like, when am I going to cross the finish line? This is going to take me a really long time. So I was thinking positive, and even though I was hungry and tired, I said, I'm going to do this, right? It's all in my head. I could do it. And guess what? The solution is I did it. I got my medal, and this was such a sweet solution that I did it 6 more times, right? So I want you to understand that characters, sometimes their solutions are quick and sometimes they take time. And it's important to understand that it could be both, right? And throughout this, we're thinking about things in our head. We have different emotions, we have different feelings, right? And sometimes people can even help us. So even though we're by ourselves, right, throughout the story, maybe there's other characters that can help us. So it's important to know that. So now let's recap. So in the story, The Curious Garden, we have a boy named Liam, right? And Liam was going outside because his city was dark and dreary, and he said, you know what, I want to go outside. Even though it's dark and dreary, I'm going to go outside, and I'm going to take my umbrella, and I'm going to see what's out there. So then he goes into this railway, and he finds life. He goes upstairs, and in that track, there's life. There are flowers, right? So he says, as a solution, I'm going to do something special. I'm not a gardener, but I'm going to take some water and bring it over and give these plants and these flowers life. And this is what he does in the first part of the solution, right? So he doesn't know if it's going to work out, but you know what? He's going to try it. And that's important, to try. So he finds his plants, they're dying, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to start just by helping. I'm going to water those flowers, and then weeks and weeks pass, and look what happened. The flowers started to grow. Not just grow, but there's other green, right? We have little um, tree shrubs, and then we have even grass, right? And look at how he feels. He feels very happy, right? And this is not something that he does in a day. This takes him weeks, right? But he still goes there, he still tries, and he gets everything done, okay? So then months and months pass, and you know what happens? This becomes, what becomes a little garden is now a huge garden, because of all the watering that he has done. Now the whole railway is full of flowers, right? And it's amazing. what one person can do, and now the city is happy, right? Because there's a lot of green, and Lola would be happy, right? Because that's another one story where it was someone that planted a garden and brought everything to life. So Liam did that, and you know what happened? Other people were watching him, and the neighbors started to help, and the seasons passed by, and the years passed by, and all of a sudden, you know what happened? The whole city became green, right? And it became alive, and the neighbors helped. And the solution was, you know what? One person, it took one person and their willingness to try something, that now a whole city is full of life. So now it's not that dark, dreary city. Now it's a green city, a city full of life. And that was a solution that did not, it was not a quick solution. It took a really long time. But you know what? His efforts paid off. So now we're going to label this, okay? And remember, the solution is 3 steps. Just like the problem was 3 steps, the solution is 3 steps. So step one is that Liam, right, he decided to water the plants. And he did it every day, okay? And then, you know what, a couple of weeks passed by, and the plants started to grow, right? And they grew so much that they went all over the railway. Take a look how beautiful it's starting to look. And you know what? He comes every day, every single day. He's watering. So this is Liam. And notice how Liam is happy, right? Because he's like, wow, I can't believe this. What started off as one flower, now we have trees, now we have more green life. This is great, right? And now it's going all over the railway. So the plants are going all over this railway, and that is really exciting. And then you know what? He continues, and now his neighbors are helping. So it's not just Liam, it's also his neighbors. So we are going to write neighbors here, and his neighbors join. And now we have a green city, right? We have a city full of life. So what once was a dark and dreary city is now a city full of life. And I bet you that a lot of the neighbors and Liam are going to what? Water every day and make sure that it's green, it's alive, and now all the neighbors want to come outside. And if you look at the story, right, they're so happy. So what happened in the beginning is that they were really sad and it was dark, but now at the end, thanks to Liam, right, and his adventure, now we have a green, lively city. And that was the solution. So sometimes solutions are quick and sometimes they take time, okay? So I hope this video helps, but remember your assignment is what is the solution? So just like the problem, there's 3 steps, right? And I want you to look at the pictures to help you and also the story and tell me what is the solution. So you're going to write it in 2 to 3 sentences. You're going to go back to the main character, Liam, and now you're going to say his neighbors, right? Because the neighbors also helped and everyone in the community helped to bring this dark and dreary city into a lively green city. So I'm going to add that word lively, right? Because he made sure that it was lively. And then the years passed by and now it's a green city, right? So make sure that you write 2 sentences describing what was the solution. Make sure you have the character, and now the setting is different because it's not dark and dreary anymore. Now it's green and it's full of life. Okay, and make sure you have a picture, right? Because the picture in the beginning of the story is completely different than the picture at the end. Okay, so I'm very excited to see your work, and I hope this video and this chart helped you. All right, bye.